Hello there. Welcome to Nick's Wellness Report. I'm with a man named John, who I never met. Let me tell you something funny. I review all the spreadsheets on the data we collect, okay? And then so we start emailing back and forth with the people, and we send a big data file. And so John was somebody that had horrible numbers. And he's not been on the program very long. He'll tell you his story. And he's just watching him progress, okay? Brings a tear to your eye, okay? And he's eligible to be a member of the AARP, and he had to learn how to use the scanning system, which uses a smartphone. And this is another story of someone who's going to tell you their story. We have not submitted any questions to him. We've not given him any answers to give. He's going to tell you his story as the God honest truth, and just everything good, everything bad, and it's a story I want you to hear, because this is what you can experience with this, and what this is all about. Well, you know what? He's going to tell you. He's going to tell you what it's all about. He's going to tell you his story about where he was at when he started and how far he's come along. By the way, this guy I'm particularly proud of, because he really worked hard and didn't suffer, but he had to put the pieces together, and he really did. So, John, why don't you come in here and tell your story? I'm doing too much talking, and you got the people here. We're going to put this on the website, and maybe we can help other people.
I'll do my best.
You'll do fine.
I started the next program, I think the last week in April, something like that, and I have an iPad and I have one of Nick's new computers, but as far as cell phone literacy, I'm not the best. I'll tell you the truth. I'll be 69 in July, so some of this stuff's kind of new to me. But he made it really simple to work, and I figured it out in a little while with the help of Jim and Nick himself. And so I started out with, I've had diabetes since I was 55, so that would take me back 14, 15 years now. And all the stuff that I'd been eating that I thought was good for me, like just everything people eat around this part of the country, like meatloaf and it has crackers in it, the salmon patties that my wife makes have crackers in them, and goulash has noodles in them, and on I could go about this, and none of this stuff worked for me. Once I put the sensor in and started pricking 2-3 times a day, all of a sudden I found out, man, this stuff is terrible. It's running my blood sugar right through the roof. And I'd been doing this for all these years and not even knowing how bad it was, because usually I only took my blood sugar once a day, and I'd be around just before supper time, and with the medication and stuff I was on, it normally kind of looked good then, pretty decent, and I thought, well, hell, everything's going good, but boy, was I wrong. Now, I started out, when I got into this, I knew I had to do something. I weighed 261 pounds. I'm only a little over 5'7" tall. It's just getting totally out of hand as far as my weight goes. And I tried Nutrisystem and you name it on the diets, and I couldn't make none of that stuff work. I hated that food, and I just didn't lose any weight. I did a couple other things that almost made me sick, damn near died. And then I got a hold of this thing, and in the last, a little over 30 days, I've lost 20 pounds. My blood sugar numbers are coming in a lot better than they used to. Most of the time it's normal. I'm on my third sensor. You'll have a little bit of deals with these. They work really great, but like I hit the doorway with my arm on one of them and knocked it out. And they don't go back in and work again. I tried it, but it didn't work, so I throwed it out, put another one in, and away we went. And I'm gratified with this thing. I can't tell you how good it works.
Tell me some of the foods that you were eating that you couldn't eat, And tell me some of the ones that surprised you that you liked that you can eat again.
The ice cream thing was pretty amazing. I never, that one just didn't, I never ever thought that would work. I'm still working a lot. I'm finding, to tell you the truth, most of the things I'm learning right now are stuff that I can't eat. This afternoon, I tried a baked potato. I thought I could probably eat that just fine, and that didn't work out either. But I'm happy with what I'm doing. Once I find all these other things, I'll get rid of all the ones that I know that I can't eat. Then I'll start doing a little more experimenting as far as other things. But I can eat steak really good. I can eat hamburger. Doesn't seem to bother. We put onions in our hamburgers. Onions apparently don't have any effect. I can eat fried eggs. They don't bother me. One thing I thought was funny, I ate a lot of ham because I thought it was high protein, it was good for me. Shit, that was terrible. Apparently the sugar they cure it with is exactly what you don't want. Blueberries I thought would be good for me. They don't work. Black raspberries do not work. But the whole thing about this is strawberries don't seem to bother. The whole thing about this is you need to find out these things that don't work and then avoid them. That's the most important thing, get this thing under control. And then you can kind of tiptoe along into this other stuff and figure out where you're at from there. At least that's my plan.
Yeah, the same thing happened with me. Foods I was told I could eat were really making me very sick, and I would feel bad after I ate them. And then what happened was I discovered that foods that I liked, like strawberries, work for me. I can have blueberries. I can't have raspberries. Bananas I can't have. And apples, okay. And oranges not, crazy as it sounds. I can't have sweet potatoes. I can have most of the vegetables. And I can't have shrimp, which I really like, but I can't have it. And the same thing you're experiencing, you know. I've been at the program a year now, so a little over a year. So I'm at the stage where I know what I can eat, and now I'm experimenting with different foods all the time. And like I found, for example, there's certain kinds of crackers I can eat, or I can't have some crackers make my sugar go ape shit high crazy, but I can have like a milk cracker. I can have some kind of bread if it's sourdough, depending on how it's made. I can have a slice of pizza. How are you on that kind of stuff?
Well, I tried a piece of pizza when I was out to my son's over the weekend, and I just ate the pizza, and the outside crust I knew would be bad, so I didn't eat that. But it had a little bit of sausage on it. I love sausage, but I don't know how that's going to work. Oh, I was eating a mixture that I'd made for years, scrambled eggs, ground pork, potatoes and onions and celery. And always thought it was pretty healthy. Well, it drives my blood sugar through the roof. But I'm thinking now, we blamed it on the pork, and that may be part of it. But I'm thinking now it's probably the potatoes. After this potato thing today, I got a pretty good eye opener on that. So,
you know what you can try? Break it up, try each thing separately.
Yes, that's the easiest way to find out where you're at.
I'll tell you something we found out about the pork sausage. This is really interesting. A lot of the store-bought brands of pork sausages have a lot of fillers that you can't eat. But if you go to the butcher and you have them get a piece of solid pork and have them run it through the hamburger machine and then take it home and put your own spices in it, a lot of people can eat that.
I'll give it a try.
You know, that's one we discovered. Almost all, see, the problem with the pork is, like, obviously most of it's sugar cured, but they use a super, super sweet cornstarch sweetener in the thing. And it makes the sugar go way, way high. I don't think anybody can eat it. But they seem, if they get the lean pork from the butcher that's not cured that way, that seems to work. Is that crazy? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, see, that's something you would have never figured out without doing this, you know.
No,
I would have never figured meat always figure as a protein, and a fat you just don't expect to have sugar in.
I'll give you another one. Another one that made me go crazy was that people were buying self-basting turkey, right? Turkeys are great food, and they couldn't eat it. And then we found out that what happened was they put a lot of gluten in the self-basting turkey that people can't have. If they just go to a regular turkey and roast it, they can have it no problem. You know,
I know it. It's just unbelievable. I couldn't find either of those two kinds of ice cream, the Hagen or the German stuff or the Ben and Jerry's. And I got this Breyers, and it's made with real milk and doesn't have no gluten in it, nothing like that. I thought it had plenty of sugar in it but I thought, well, I'll try a little bit of it, and I've ate it twice now, and it doesn't bother at all. It hasn't bothered my blood sugar at all.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? Yeah. You found the right brand. Because I'll tell you what, like the Nestle's ice cream has a lot of fillers in it. Almost nobody can eat that. And you got to experiment because different dairies in different parts of the country process their ice cream differently. You have to experiment with it. Another one's cottage cheese. You know, you would think that all cottage cheese would be great, right? It's a great, high fat.
Right.
Yeah.
Very healthy.
You can have some. You can have some cottage cheese that shoots the numbers to the sky and go to a different brand, and it's fine. It's amazing. Hey, tell me, how'd your glucose come down? How's it? What's going on with you were taking insulin or are taking insulin?
No, I took 1,000 milligrams of metformin night and morning, and I'd have to get the bottle to tell you. And I took two glucotrol pills night and morning, and now the only thing I'm taking is a metformin. I don't use any glucotrol at all anymore. Already, just in 30 days. Is that crazy or what?
How did you do that? That's in less than 30 days.
Yeah.
How did you do that with your doctor? You took him on a spreadsheet, or how did that work out with him?
Well, I went in and told her what was going on, and I showed her the sheets. She went through, kind of breezed through them quick, and I said, what do you think I ought to be quitting here? And she said, I don't think you need either one of these. She said, let's give that a try and see how it goes. So that's what I'm doing. So the glucotrol is, right now I'm not using it.
Let me tell people what's going on here. We generate once a week a spreadsheet where we have every glucose reading that the sensor gives and what pinpricks he does. And then he logs in his food, okay? And then we compare them, and then we put together a complete spreadsheet where we make for him diet suggestions. But we then supply the more complicated formulas and charts to the doctors to see, which they love. Because remember, in the past, how often were you taking a glucose reading before we came along?
How often was I taking it?
Yeah.
I test it sometimes, maybe only once a week.
Wow. Oh, no. Yeah.
Well, that was before this, But she always told me that to take it around just before the evening meal when I did, and it was always pretty good. So if it was good, it'd be 2, 3, 4 days before I'd take it again. Usually it was pretty good. And if I ate something I knew was going to hit me on it, and I took it and it was high, well, then I'd take it again then the next day and make sure that it came down. But it always came right back down, so I didn't think nothing of it. But here, all this stuff in the meantime, it was skyrocketing, and I didn't even know about it. I knew those nights that I didn't sleep well, there must be something wrong. But I didn't know what the hell it was, but now I do.
How are you sleeping now?
Good. A lot better.
How's your energy levels?
I'm a little low on that yet, but I think I'm really not probably doing my diet perfectly. I eat quite a bit of protein and greens and stuff, but I'm not getting anything that really gives me a lot of energy. I have to keep the carbs really under control because those are the things that gun me down. But I'm doing fine.
The next phase we'll start doing is introducing tests of carb foods. For example, a lot of people can't eat a lot of baked goods, okay? But because of the yeast. But if they have baked goods that are done with baking powder, they seem to tolerate the glucose doesn't go as high. Isn't that a crazy thing?
Yeah,
in other words, we're starting with pancakes made with baking powder. We're going to start you with the Johnny Cakes, which is an English biscuit, and it's made with butter and made with milk and cream and no sugar and baking powder for the rising agent.
Well, sounds good.
Yeah, I'll get. In fact, I think I got the recipe to you on the sheet I sent you now, or Dennis is sending you the next sheet. So what we're starting with, okay, let me tell you how it works. The first thing before we can start experimenting is we got to kick out of there the foods that are making your glucose go high, right? That's like the emergency work. In other words,
exactly.
You don't want the glucose going high. Your doctor doesn't want you going high. All kinds of bad things happen. So then once we get kicked out of your diet, the foods that are wrong for you, then you adjust your medicine, which you've done. Now, once we got a baseline where you're not shooting so high that we're not going to stay up nights and bite my nails saying, oh, my God, how high is this going, then you stabilize. Then what happens, the body starts healing itself. In other words, you can tolerate a wider range of foods because you're not aggravating yourself with the glucose going high. In other words, if you start the day with a 130 glucose level and somebody picks you up 50, you're at 180. Well, if you start a day at 80 and you're picking up 50, you're at 130, so you're not tipping the scale so much. So we want the baseline normal, which is what you're achieving now, because you're most of the time running in the 110s, in a lot of your tests, right? So you come way down.
Yeah, it's really high. I was high. I certainly was. A lot higher than I even realized. This thing is a miracle.
What we found out was because of inconsistency of testing the glucose with the pinprick, because of not proper logging, it's really hard to keep track of it. If you don't log the food, it's hard to think back what happened 3 days ago. So we found that by that constant logging, the sensor takes a reading every 15 minutes and records it. And he scans it as convenient. He can scan wherever he wants. When he scans it, we take out of the sensor the memory of all the readings. And that's laid on the left side of his spreadsheet. Now, he has a data logger on a smartphone. So as he is logging his sugar, he sees it. And as he puts the food in, he sees it. And then he can watch it. And tell him about how you watch the sugar, what happens on the phone.
Well, when you go into the GLIMP and hit that, there's a graph that's on there, and it plots every time you scan, and you can see exactly what it is. And then I usually go to the Diabetes M, and it shows what's happened to me all day long on this little circle graph. What I've been, how much I've been high, how much I've been normal, and how much I've been low. And it really gives you a bird's eye view of what the hell's going on. Very enlightening. That's what I use, and it works for me.
Yeah, we those circle graph charts you have available as soon as you come into the phone. We then plot those. So we do a circle graph that shows, okay, this is what happened during the night. And basically it's a circle chart where the idea is to get everything green. If glucose is going too low, it turns blue. If it's going high, it turns orange. If it's getting too high, it turns red. The idea is to just find out what you should eat when to get everything in balance. And then all of a sudden your circles line up. So the chart will tell you, well, okay, I'm good at dinner time, so I'm eating a good meal there. But breakfast, I've got a problem. So what happens is it allows you to see what percentage of the time you're off. And that is a lifesaver. That is one quick way of seeing exactly what's going on without having to get anything complicated. Get that circle green and you're healthy. Amazing.
That's what I'm shooting for. No medicine, green circle.
Are you taking blood pressure medicine, heart medicine, cholesterol medicine, any of that?
Yeah, I'm still taking that. She told me we'd see how the results were in another month or two. Take another blood sample and see how that was going. But all that stuff was going down last time, so I may not need that again either. I also took a pill called allopurinol. There's like roast beef will give you gout, like red ripe tomatoes. I think that varies in people, actually, but those are a couple of things that I really liked, and in order to eat them, I had to take these pills. But I've done away with them because that acid level has dropped to the point where I don't need them anymore either.
Amazing, isn't it? Wow.
Yes, it is.
Blood glucose controls so much. We find that most everybody has blood pressure going down. Even though you're eating a lot of fat in your diet, we want to eat full-fat foods. The cholesterol and the triglycerides come right within range. You're starting to see that effect. It takes a few months. The key is, and what I want everyone to understand is that one of the things going on here, this man is going to his doctor constantly. He's monitoring. He's taking his blood work, and that's the way you got to do it. You can't do it yourself. You got to put together a team. We know how to tell you about foods. We know how to provide the information precisely so your doctor sees what's going on. But you got to have the doctor monitor your whatever medicines you're taking. Do not change without talking to your doctor. And you absolutely got to have your blood work. We recommend a complete blood workup every month, and that just shows you the progress. And you've had one blood test already, then?
Yes. Yep. Just had one the other day.
What was your changes?
Pardon me?
The numbers are slowly on. You in the blood test, you saw that from this test to your last one, before you were coming on the program, your numbers were coming in line.
Yes, definitely.
Wow. Yeah. I had high blood pressure. The doctor was pushing me to start the blood pressure medication, and I didn't want to do it because you start these legacy pills, and it's hard to get off them. And I didn't do it. I caught it just in time. And now I got my blood pressure like at 128, over 70. Haven't been that way since my 20s. And it just came right back down. And it was just amazing. Everything the same the way. So you're not really counting calories then, are you?
No, I don't. I don't pay attention to that part of it. But it's amazing. I'm very active. I have a pretty active lifestyle, and I'm amazed that I'm rarely hungry. I'm usually just hungry when just about it's time for me to eat anyway. And it doesn't take much food to fill me up. Now, I don't know how to explain that either, but I can tell you that I think it's this blood sugar thing.
I'll tell you what it is. When the glucose levels go high, then go low, the body's reacting to that by getting hungry. As you moderate the glucose levels, then all of a sudden, the mechanisms catch back in again, and you're in touch with your body. But look, the glucose is a little bit low now, and you eat, and you've got a level, so it's not going crazy. The other thing that happens is your appetite's not as big. In other words, you don't need as much food to satisfy you because the food you're eating are the foods that are precisely for you rather than stuff that's making you go crazy. And everybody reports the same thing. I don't count calories. I don't eat big meal portions. In fact, I'll tell you what, where I would have like 7 or 8 ounces, now I'm eating 4 and 5 ounces. So I find that I'm automatically cutting down. Like I like tuna salad. And so I used to eat 6 ounces of it. I can't eat 6 ounces of tuna salad anymore. I'm eating 3. But I'm not trying to eat less. It's just, in fact, my daughter said to me, "Dad, you never left food in your plate before. What's going on?" And I've gotten smaller bowls. I've gotten smaller bowls. I used to have bigger bowls, and now the bowls get smaller and smaller and smaller.
I know it. I just never would have believed that a little bit of food would be enough. I used to eat a lot. Now I don't eat. Like I eat maybe 3 ounces of turkey, and a cup of green beans for supper, and a glass of milk, and a lettuce salad, and that's more than enough.
Well, I'm glad you came aboard. It's really been a pleasure working with you. And like I've said, I salute you on your progress. You got just you'll adjust your carb level, and we'll find the right carb foods that you can tolerate sugar-wise. That'll be the next phase. We'll start working with you on that. Now, the biggest thing was you and that. By the way, you were driving me crazy with your pork. I have to tell you.
I could tell. I showed that to my wife, and I said, "I don't think Nick likes this stuff, so we're going to quit
this." Please stop. No. In fact, I'd open up the file, and I'd see the red first. I said, "I'm going to scroll back here and find where the porky pie is."
You're right. We eliminated that stuff.
Yep, I see you're doing the turkey, and I'm seeing you're doing a lot of eggs, and you're having a nice diet.
It's working well, Nick. Really working well.
Are you able to eat
amazing.
hash browns?
Pardon me?
Are you able to eat hash browns?
I haven't tried them. That's one of my favorite foods. But I haven't even thought about trying them. When the baked potato didn't work, I thought, Jesus, I don't imagine they will.
I used to love a baked potato, a big one, wrap it in tin foil, and put it on the barbecue grill. Where you kind of get it toasty. Then I open that thing up and I put as much butter in there and sour cream as I could until it just rolled over the place. I can't eat that anymore. I mean, big russet potato, big. But guess what? I can eat homemade French fries. Can you believe that?
You can?
I can eat French fries. I can only eat a couple ounces of them, but I can eat French fries, and I can dip a couple of them in ketchup and have no effect.
That's amazing.
Try your French fries. Yeah. I can't have mashed potatoes. They don't work. Baked potato doesn't work, but I don't know why. I can't have French fries. I'll tell you another one. I really like breaded chicken, and I really like breaded veal. Veal cutlets, I was saying earlier. And the doctor said, no way can you have any breaded foods, right? I mean, that's one of the first things they tell you no. And I found that if I eat like a veal cutlet, which I love, if it's fried in olive oil, I don't know, it somehow kills the bread in it. It tastes great, and I can eat it.
I'm going to get some of them things to try.
But you can't buy it store. But I bought some of those the breaded chicken breasts from the store, and I couldn't eat those. But I got my own chicken breast. We pounded it out flat, then we put it in the egg batter, and then we ran it through breadcrumbs, store-bought breadcrumbs, but not the spicy ones. And I can eat that fine.
You just took a regular chicken and cut the meat out of it and flattened it out and did that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm amazed. I don't think we've been eating those chicken breasts that you buy in a bag, frozen ones. And as far as I know, they haven't bothered me.
It depends upon how they process it. If they shoot it up with like oil to baste it, the oil tends to have a glucose in it, and it's made from a cornstarch, so it's a sugar in it. That doesn't work. If they don't mess with it, it's just the big bag of breast that they just cut up and put in the bag. That seems to be fine. A lot.
That's what we're getting.
Yeah. So that's what's working. The beauty is just test it. You never know what sins the different brands of foods are committing. I mean, the fact.
Right. That's the whole thing. You can test it and find out now with this setup.
2 hours you know, right?
Yep. That's the miracle of it.
Yeah. It's just the technology. These sensors weren't even available until January this year in America, by the way.
Yeah, I know. How come we invent most of that stuff here and then we never get to use it until last?
Well, I'll tell you the answer. It's been available for almost 2 years in England, and it's non-prescription, okay? And the FDA held up the approval in the United States until just this last winter, and then it was prescription only. So that was a problem. It's not prescription in Europe, and the cost is a lot less. The other thing is your sensor is programmed to work for 10 days. The European sensor works for 14 days. It's same sensor, same program when we tested it. Just that they wouldn't approve it for any longer. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's talk about deep state conspiracy. There may be another one, huh?
Well, if there's big money, there's big crime. I can tell you that.
Exactly.
The thing about we're hoping that they'll get this thing off of prescription, and the cost will come down dramatically. So I
tell you though, at this point, I'm not having any qualms about paying for it and I don't have a lot of money by any stretch either. But I'm sure is saving my life. You
are now in control of your diet. You are now in control of your disease. You now know what you can and can't eat, and no one can lie to you. And whatever the dietitian tells you, it can be a bunch of crap you don't know, or the company that makes for example, Quaker Oatmeal did a big campaign talking about how healthy oats were. Right? They've spent a lot of money on that, and I can't eat a spoonful of it, and most people can't either. And so
I can't eat it either.
Yeah,
can't eat it.
Sure.
It's not quite as bad as a blueberry donut, but it's almost as bad when it comes to running my blood sugar up.
Yeah, oatmeal's about one of my biggest run-up too. By the way, okay, I can't have a Dunkin' Donuts with the cream filling in it and that white icing top with the coffee. That's gone. Can't have that. Yeah. But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you the secret though. I have enough. Before it was like I was a punishment. I could sit at the table and eat with the family, and I just, I had to pretend like everything was okay, but I was going crazy. Rubbing my feet under the table, clenching my fists. The good food I wanted to eat came by. Now there's enough of the food I like on the table that I eat pretty normal meals. I don't have a big cutout list, and I got a lot of things back in my list that really makes me happy. My daughter would watch me eat ice cream. She said, "Dad, I thought you were on a diet." I thought you were on a diet. I said, "I am. You're eating ice cream." So that one solved it. And then, and I love chocolate, so I can have and I don't do too much though. I make it like a treat. Like, Sunday dinner with the ice cream is really nice. If I have a long day, a little piece of chocolate works out for me. I've been starting to work on these pancakes and crepes and recipes that take out what I think are a lot of bad ingredients. I'll start some of those. You're ready for that now. You've done really well, by the way. You're amazing, man. Unbelievable.
I'm determined.
I'll tell you what, you're a serious guy. You've, it's just, as I saw your chart. Well, I'm proud of you. Congratulations. I'm glad we could have a little part in this and help you. And keep up the good work. And I don't know. I guess I know you now. We're going to send. By the way, we send out a logbook file every week, update it, and then we send out 1 to 2 to 3 emails a week for everybody. And then we're always phone available. So, congratulations, kind sir. I'm very proud of you. Like I said, I'm humbled that we have a little part in this thing. Keep up the good work, please. Okay.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. All right, guys. That was another success story. And man wasn't on the program that long. And he had a lot of pork in his diet, and it was a lot of processed pork. Because, by the way, they tell you pork's a great meal because it's high protein and low fat, and what happened is it depends upon how the pork is processed. A lot of these factories have gone to a high glucose processing thing that cures the pork very quickly, and it makes it, you can't eat it. But then if you go to the butcher shop and get a normally cured pork, that seems to work. So anyway, change your life, lose weight. A lot of people, with the work of their doctor, are able to cut down a lot of pills. Glucose is such an important part of the blood sugar level, and affects everything. It affects your cholesterol. It affects just your blood pressure. It affects so much of the body. And what we're learning is that when people can get their glucose under control by using food as their medicine, and I don't mean wacky, crazy stuff like a dingleberry, that grows in Antarctica in the tundra or some crazy stuff or some crazy herb. We're just talking normal foods. And you find out that there's just a lot of good foods you can eat, and it makes a big difference, and it's a lifesaver. And this man is another example. But by the way, guys, if you're not serious about it, then don't bother. This man paid a lot of attention to his diet choices. He experimented with the meals. He logged things carefully. You got to do a little bit of work. But it's not like eating bunny rabbit food where I felt like I'm a rabbit out there in the rabbit cage, okay? I'm able to have fruits back in my diet, by the way. He was talking about how he got strawberries back in. A lot of times they prohibit fruits. And as you go further in the program, for some reason, you can tolerate more things. So it's just an amazing life experience. And I'll tell you what it's all about. It's all about the data. It's all about the data logger. It's all about the algorithms. It's all about knowing the patterns, and that's what we do. And we'd love to help you too. Anyway, my pleasure. We're doing this show now with the guests twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 o'clock New York time. We're also posting it on the NixWellnessReport.com website. And if we can help you, we'd be proud to try. By the way, this is happiness guaranteed. If it doesn't work, take your money back. Thank you very much. We gave it a try. It's well worth it. So far, no one's asked for the money back. And so far, everyone that's on the program, everyone, has seen improvement in their numbers, and everyone's seen weight loss. Now, I'm sure, it's a very small program, but I'm sure as we get into the tens of thousands, that will change. But at this stage, the results are conclusive. Anyway, my pleasure being with you. And if you have got a problem, we'd love to help you. Anyway, I will see you next week, 6 o'clock New York time on Monday. On Tuesday, and then 6 o'clock on Thursdays. Anyway, bye-bye, guys. Thank you.